All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are tackling a big one: confidence. You know, that feeling we all want more of, especially when we're staring down a huge challenge. So, how do you actually get more confident? Well, we are about to break down three super practical and powerful tips to help you do just that. I am almost certain you have heard this one before. You're nervous about a big presentation, a job interview, maybe a tough conversation, and someone hits you with that classic, oh so helpful piece of advice. Just be more confident. And you're probably thinking the exact same thing I am. Yeah, if only it were that easy. It can feel so frustrating, right? Almost impossible. But what if it's not? What if confidence isn't some magic trait you're just born with, but something you can actually learn and build over time? So, to start, let's get on the same page about what we're even talking about, because confidence isn't just some vague feeling. Think of it more like an engine. It's the thing that takes a thought you have in your head and turns it into real, actual action out in the world. I love how this is broken down. True confidence is like a recipe with three key ingredients. First, the base is self-esteem, that deep down belief that you are valuable. Then you mix in a healthy dose of optimism, a real belief in your own abilities. And the final crucial step, you take all of that and use it to fuel courageous action when you're facing a challenge. That's the whole shebang. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we can figure out where confidence comes from, we can start to build it for ourselves. And it turns out there are a few key factors that all work together. Okay, so here's the breakdown. A piece of it comes from your genes, the specific chemicals in your brain. Another big piece is your environment, how people treat you, the social pressures you're under. But look at that highlighted slice. That's the one we're going to focus on today: your choices. Because while these three are all tangled up, the choices you make, the risks you take, how you decide to think about your successes and your failures, that plays a massive role. And that's the part you can actually control. And this is where it gets really exciting, because if you have control, you have power. You can literally cultivate your own confidence. So let's get into the tips you can start using right away to make that happen. First up, let's talk about the quick fix. Because let's be real, sometimes you just need a jolt of confidence right here, right now, before you walk into that big meeting or get up on that stage. This first tip is all about those immediate, in-the-moment boosts. So think of these as little hacks for your brain. Before a tough task, take a second to actually picture yourself succeeding. Or try putting on some music with a deep bass line. Studies show it can make you feel more powerful. You can even strike a power pose for a minute or two. And hey, don't underestimate a good old-fashioned pep talk. They might sound simple, but these little tricks can make a real difference. But quick fixes are just that: quick. For real, lasting change, you need a long-term strategy. And that brings us to tip number 2, which is all about the fundamental beliefs you have about your own abilities. Okay, this is so important. Basically, there are two core mindsets. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the idea that your talents are just, well, fixed. You're either good at something or you're not. So when you hit a setback, you're probably going to give up. But on the other side, you have the growth mindset. This is the belief that your abilities can be developed, kind of like a muscle. So a challenge isn't a final judgment, it's an opportunity to learn and get stronger. And this isn't just some feel-good idea. It's backed by hard science. Neuroscience literally shows us that with study and practice, the actual connections in your brain get stronger and more complex. You can physically rewire your brain for growth. How cool is that? And the results of this shift in mindset really speak for themselves. On average, people who adopt a growth mindset are just more successful. They tend to get better grades, and they're way more resilient when they face a challenge. So the bottom line is, what you believe about yourself has a direct impact on what you achieve. And that leads us perfectly to our third and final tip. Now, this one might sound a little weird at first, but it is, without a doubt, the most powerful tool for building genuine, unshakable confidence. You have to practice failing. Okay, let's just get this out in the open. You're gonna fail. I'm gonna fail. Everybody does. It's a fundamental, unavoidable part of being human. So the goal can't be to avoid failure at all costs. The goal has to be to change our relationship with it. I mean, just think about this. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 different publishers before one finally said yes to Harry Potter. Her world-changing success wasn't built on avoiding rejection, but on her courage to keep going right through it. And this is another perfect example. The Wright brothers didn't just invent a working airplane out of nowhere.
Their final design was built on a whole history of failed attempts, including a bunch of their own broken prototypes. Every single failure was just another piece of data, another lesson that got them one step closer to success. And yep, the research totally backs this up. Studies have found that people who fail on a regular basis and just keep trying are way better equipped to handle challenges and setbacks. They become more resilient, more creative, and ultimately more confident problem solvers.
So, what does embracing failure actually teach us? Well, for one, it teaches us to pivot and try different strategies when our first plan doesn't work out. It teaches us to not be afraid to ask other people for advice. And maybe most importantly, it teaches us the incredible power of perseverance. So here is your game plan. First, think of a challenge you really want to take on, maybe something you've been putting off. Step 2, just know from the start that it's not going to be easy. Third, accept that you will make mistakes along the way. And finally, number 4, when you do mess up, be kind to yourself. Give yourself that pep talk we talked about and get ready to try again. And this, right here, is the ultimate mindset shift. This is what it really means to be confident. It is not the belief that you're guaranteed to succeed. It's the excitement you feel knowing that whatever happens, you're going to come out of it with more knowledge and understanding. The growth itself becomes the victory. That is confidence. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Forget about succeeding for just a minute. Instead, ask yourself this: what challenge will you choose to fail at first? What's something so worthwhile that you're willing to embrace the learning process of failure to achieve it? Find that, and you're already on your way.